Good evening, and welcome all of you to our First Parish Online Vespers gathering this evening. You all know me. I'm Cathy Livingston. I'm the host for this evening, but I'm joined by Reverend Katie, Rebecca Keller-Scholl, and Charles Thomas as our other rotating leaders. And Craig Scholl is providing me with tech support tonight. So we're all living through an extraordinary, challenging time in our country right now. We're bombarded with these daily scenes displaying the best way I can describe them are inhumane acts that are often motivated by meanness. And we suddenly now find ourselves in this state of are we in a war or are we not in a war, depending on who is speaking. So this month's question, Nurturing Our Inner Wisdom, has been with me since March 1. And I've been sitting with this question, asking myself, what can we do to help nurture that inner wisdom amidst this barrage of negative messages? And I'm happy to say that in the next poem, which I'm about to read by John O'Donohue, I got some inspiration. So listen until we get to the end. So I offered these words from John O'Donohue that I found have offered me comfort and hope during these challenging times. His reflections at the end of the poem offer us a pathway to nurture ourselves as well as our inner wisdom. You have traveled too fast over false ground. Now your soul has come to take you back. Take refuge in your senses. Open up to the small miracles you rushed through. Become inclined to watch the way of rain when it falls slow and free. Imitate the habit of twilight, taking time to open the well of color that fostered the brightness of the day. Draw alongside the silence of stone till its calmness can claim you. Be excessively gentle with yourself. Stay clear of those vexed in spirit. Learn to linger around someone of ease who feels they have all the time in the world. Gradually, you will return to yourself, having learned a new respect for your heart in a joy that dwells far within slow time. Now is the time to be slow, lie low to the wall until the bitter weather has finally passed. Gradually, you will return to yourself, having learned a new respect for your heart. Gravity may begin falling inside you, dragging down every bone. You have traveled too fast over false ground, and now your soul has come to take you back. It is precisely when times are difficult and we are vulnerable that we really have to mind ourselves. In a difficult time, we should always keep something beautiful in our heart. Perhaps, as a poet said, and this is the power line in this poem, it is beauty that will save us in the end. So this evening, I hope to focus on awakening spring's beauty and blessings. And now we're going to enjoy a short reading and visual offered by William Wordsworth. I wandered lonely as a cloud.
I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay in such a jocund company. I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. For oft when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills, and dances with the daffodils.
Now it's time to light our candles. So, for joy, we have a chance today to think about what brought us joy today. We'll have a couple of minutes after we light our candles just to pick one of these or all of them that you want to respond to. So, name the joy and offer your gratefulness for this gift. And now for concerns. What worry or angst do you find yourself carrying with you today? Give voice to that worry and invite insight or assistance in what you are to help with what you are carrying. And finally, for concerns for the world, I know we are all concerned about what we're witnessing in many parts of the world today. Let's each make an offering, giving our voice to the healing that we want to send to the world today. As we settle into silence, I want to emphasize the theme that we're focusing on awakening spring's beauty and blessings in this evening's Vespers. So, as we have now some silent time, find your place of comfort. If you want to write what your wishes, one of your wishes are, you can put that in the chat. So, we're going to go to a tour of spring gardens in the Longwood Gardens. And I knew my cat would get here eventually, and here he is. Video makes me want to take a trip to the Isabel Stewart Gardner Museum. So, spring is often associated with a time of renewal and replenishing. I believe we are so fortunate to live in New England because the springtime offers us such a wonderful palette of delicate hues. If we are in search of beauty to nourish us, spring gives us many opportunities to experience beauty and intentional growth. Spring also serves as a metaphor for shedding old habits that are no longer serving us well, and it invites us to embrace new life and growth. Coming from the Midwest, I'm very familiar with the concept of spring cleaning, and I do my version of it. But I think of it as also clearing out things in my home, but it's also a chance to clear mental and emotional clutter, making way for us to tap into new energy and growth. If we desire to tap into spiritual or religious symmetry, we might think of spring as a time of rebirth or resurrection. As an active gardener, my garden work gives me an opportunity to think of the rituals I go through spiritually. So once you can be outside again, I start checking on all my perennials, looking to see which little ones made it through the winter. And then I check to see what kind of attention they might need. Do they need pruning, fertilizing, or just being reminded that someone is glad that they're back? I also check in with myself to see if I'm being called to a new spiritual practice. I tend to pick up my walking as the weather gets better and we don't have to have the fear of snow and ice. So I have another wonderful poem called For a New Beginning by John O'Donohue. It's from his book, Walking in Wonder. In out of the way places of the heart, where your thoughts never think to wonder, the beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you are ready to emerge. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness growing inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the same promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondering whether you would always live like this. Then the delight when your courage kindled and you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not yet clear, you can trust the promise of the opening. Unfool yourself to the grace of beginning that is at one with your life's desire. Awaken your spirit of adventure, hold nothing back, learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses that the world awaits you. We get another chance to look at spring in New England for a couple of minutes. Okay. So, awakening to the beauty and blessings of our spring offers us multiple choices to explore contemplative practices. Knowing that it is beauty that will save us in the end, we can take steps to ensure that we seek opportunities to witness and acknowledge it. Remember that beauty comes in many forms. All of our senses are portals to witness beauty. I'm reminded of the parable about the two wolves. A good one lives on one shoulder, an evil one on the other. And when people say which one wins out, the answer is the one you feed. So we need to find ways to feed that good critter that sits up there so that we are looking at our opportunity to continue to develop in positive ways. I sat with that idea that the beauty will save us in the end, and it suggests to me that beauty goes beyond providing us with something we admire. It's actually transformative. It has many ways of reaching us. It includes acts of kindness, compassion, truth, courage, and moments of deep human connection. I think beauty reminds us of the unlimited capacity for humans to show up as their best selves. Such experiences can renew our sense of hope, reconnect with the potential reach of our own humanity, and it can inspire us all to be better humans. When next you experience a form of beauty, take a moment to ponder why this particular experience helped increase your sense of hope. If beauty can save us in the end, it also implies that we may have a responsibility to learn to not only recognize it in our daily lives, but we also can ask ourselves, in what ways do we create beauty? Choosing actions, perhaps acts of kindness, compassion over meanness, tending our gardens, or just an act of kindness are all ways of creating beauty. Finally, I do appreciate the value of nurturing my inner wisdom. There are many times that we need to invite that wisdom into our lives. I've learned over time that in our UU community, we all might call this experience by a different name. Some use inner voice or an epiphany or divine insight, soul wisdom, or higher self. It doesn't really matter what we call it, but if you've had an experience where you were wrestling with a decision, you know what it feels like when suddenly the pieces of this kaleidoscopic elements fall into a unified solution. So as we listen to the next example of soothing music, let's take a couple of minutes to begin exploring what might be our intention or first step to engaging in one of the contemplative practices associated with spring. So we're going to look at pathways to inner wisdom. I hope you felt some inspiration about a contemplative practice. Sometimes when I walk, I set an intention that I'm going to look at homes that there's, if I can find, I'm looking for something about how a home presents itself that signals an invitation to beauty. Uh, Sometimes when I walk, I decide I'm going to look for colors in the blue family. So it just gives me something to be more conscious of what I'm seeing and reacting to it. So I thought it might be fun to end on a playful note. I don't know if any of you ever watched the Teletubbies, but I just find them so joyful. And they have videos about them discovering the rite of spring. And they just bring me joy when I see their cuteness and their craziness and just the fun they're having. So we're going to watch them for a few minutes. Leave it to a you to watch the Teletubbies, is all I can say. So thank you everyone for being here. My little cat, when I was setting up the Teletubbies, he likes to pat them on the screen. So I don't know what he's seeing, but anyway. So nice to see you, Gail, and everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight. Um, and I hope you find ways. Tomorrow is actually the first day of spring, so we can set our sight on enjoying it and the pleasures it brings us. So be well, everyone.